Good afternoon and welcome to Wind Down Wednesdays with Vitamin C. And today I have Miss Kendra McRae, which is a mental health therapist, on the live with me today. And today we're going to be talking about mental health awareness. And Kendra, can you just tell them a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm Kendra McRae, and I am a licensed clinical social worker. I graduated with my master's in social work in 2015. And so I've been doing therapy and clinical case management since then. Um, Before I had my baby girl, who's 5 months old, I ran a private practice as well, where I primarily saw adults and young adults treating like depression, anxiety, and other mental health issues.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'm glad to have you joining me today.
Yeah.
And we want to get right into it.
Okay.
Um, Therapy is one of the bravest things you can do.
Yeah.
It means that you want to make a positive change. It means you're willing to take ownership of your life, roll your sleeves up, and do some hard work. It
Yeah.
takes a tremendous amount of courage. So today, like I said, we're going to talk about mental health awareness, some things that you can do to seek help. And I have a few questions for you. And then I'm going to allow you to share whatever you would like to share as well.
Sure. Sounds good.
All right. Let me get to my stuff. All right. All right. So, can you tell us some of the benefits of a person seeking therapy?
Yeah. I think, one of the main benefits I would say is just increased self awareness. Sometimes we can only see a very limited viewpoint of ourselves. And I think therapy allows you to have an outside person to look in and also be able to give you even more perspective. So, definitely increase self awareness, ability to process and talk through your emotions and thoughts. I mean, I feel like we all have various emotions and thoughts that we deal with on a daily basis. But a lot of times, either we try to avoid them, or we stuff them down, or we pretend that they do not exist, or we do the opposite and maybe we share with the people close to us and they don't know how to actually help us to process and deal with what we're going through. So I think that's important. And also, it's like a neutral person. Like anybody else that you talk to, they usually have some kind of opinions based on the fact that they know you as a person. This is a person who has no type of commitment to you at all, and they don't know you personally on that level, and they're a neutral party, so they can give you a lot more insight and perspective than maybe your family members can or your friends can. And they're also coming from a place of training and learning. They have the tools to give you that maybe you can't get in other places. And I also think that that is an important part of it as well.
I agree because a lot of people tend to not want to go to therapy uh,
Mhm,
for whatever reason. I think, and I'm gonna say this: our culture really have it bad, not wanting to go to
mhm,
therapy. I don't know why. Some of us think that therapy is such a bad thing when
mhm,
really it's very beneficial.
mhm,
Um, and it's just like, I mean, and I understand what you're saying. As far as certain things, the person may not be able to talk to their friend or family about,
mhm,
and I understand you talking to a complete stranger, but sometimes it may be easier because this person you don't feel like I'm telling them all my personal business and they're going to judge me, or they're not going to be biased. So I think I think it's a good thing to do that as well. As far as talking to a therapist, someone that you don't know,
mhm,
um, so you feel more comfortable, so to speak. Um, but I mean, like I said, I just don't understand why people, shy away or thinking therapy is such a bad thing. So, what can you tell people out here that may want to seek therapy but don't know how about going about starting therapy or finding a therapist they can go to?
Yeah, I would say like if you think about like going to the doctor, like if you have something wrong with you, like you have a cold or you have an illness that you can't fix at home, you're going to go to the doctor.
Right.
And you're not going to think twice about it. Like you're going to make a doctor's appointment because you know like this is something that you need medicine for and you don't and you can't you're not going to feel better.
Right. That's a good analogy.
That's automatically what you're going to do. If you have cancer, you're going to get chemo,
Right.
right? So I would say like think about it in the same way. Like if you go to the doctor for a physical illness, why won't you go to a therapist for something that you're dealing with mentally? And really thinking about it, it's the same, it's no different. It's the same thing. Just like you go to the doctor for a physical illness, you go to a therapist for a mental illness or a mental problem or emotional problem or just being able to talk things through. And so I think it'll be helpful when people start to see it and view it on that same level. Like just like I'm going to a doctor to take care of my health, I'm going to a therapist to take care of my mental health.
Right. I agree, and it's very important. I mean,
Yeah,
because it start with the mind. Uh,
right.
you gotta take care of your mental health as you stated. You have to take care of your physical health as well.
Right.
Um, so let me ask you this: Have you ever became attached to a client?
No, I wouldn't say so. I think, as therapists, I definitely think we develop relationships with our clients. And I would say it's on the level of you want to see them do well and you want to see them succeed. You want to see them feeling better. You want to see them reaching their goals. And so when I think about like the attachment as far as a therapist, I think that that's probably where it goes. Like you want to see them grow and develop. I mean, there's clients that I've had that I still remember, that I wonder like how they're doing and want, hope that they're doing well. And I think, most therapists probably have some clients that they remember in that way, but not necessarily an attachment like you would to a friend or a family member.
Right. And I know sometimes, as far as you being a therapist, you take on so many other people problems and you listen to so many other problems and issues. Do sometimes you feel like I need to go get therapy for myself?
Yeah, I think it's important to get therapy. I think therapists should, or if they feel it necessary, that they should have a therapist. Because I look at it like this: as being a therapist, you're still a human,
Right.
and just because you're doing therapy doesn't mean that your life stops or that the things that you're dealing with stops. Like you still have those things going on. So I definitely think it's important. And I think about it like this: is that you can't pour from an empty cup. And so if your cup is empty, how are you going to be able to fill up somebody else's cup? And so the process, even being a therapist or even any other roles, being a mom, being an employee, it's all about filling your cup so that you can fill somebody else's cup. And so as a therapist going to therapy, that's how I look at that.
Right. And I'm sorry. I had to change my audience to public because it wasn't on public, but it's still being streamed live on my Facebook as well as on YouTube and my Wind Down Wednesday page. But I had to change because sometimes I don't know why my page is public, but when I stream live, it don't stream live. I have to go in and change the audience to public. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I want people to get this information because there's some good information, and especially with all the issues. Things that's going on in the world, and a lot of people dealing with mental health. Um,
Mhm.
because just like the DJ Twitch did,
Yeah.
suicide, and do you feel like, a lot of people do mass well, I can, I mean, I know we know, but do you feel like sometimes people mask behind certain things and people not able to
Yeah.
see that, they dealing with depression, or, or feeling low, or having suicide thoughts?
Yeah, I feel like, depression, mental illness is like a silent, for a lot of people, sometimes it's a silent killer. For whatever reason, people don't always share what they're feeling and what they're experiencing. And for some people, you know, being happy, like what we've seen with Twitch, doing dances, all that stuff is just kind of like a cover up in some ways, or even just an escape from those feelings. And sometimes it can be really hard to know exactly what people are feeling and thinking. I think it's so important to ask the questions, like, to really ask people how they're feeling and really to be present. But the truth of the matter is, we don't always know.
That's true. Because, like I said, yeah. Because some people, you know that they're dealing with, some depression, or, mental illness. But some people, they cover it up or mask it really, really well, where you don't know.
Mhm,
You're like, oh wow, I never knew. Because they don't want you to know. They go on with their everyday life. They dealing with a lot of problems, and deep down inside, they wanna, hurt or harm themselves.
mhm.
And
Yeah,
some of them do succeed, and it's sad, when you don't know that a person is dealing with all this, um
mhm,
and you thinking, oh, I could have got him help, or got her help,
mhm.
and like I said, it's just sad, and it's heartbreaking, when
Yeah,
a family or loved one, or friend, you know take their own life.
yeah.
um
It is heartbreaking, and I think it'll always be heartbreaking, right? It's never. I don't think there's ever going to be a moment where it's not. It's supposed to be, right? And it opens up our eyes every time it happens. I think it opens up people's eyes even more to how important like mental health is, and how the struggles that people are dealing with can be hidden. Like, you just never know what people are dealing with.
right. So let me ask you this: how do you set boundaries, to separate your emotional, view from your professional point of view when you're, dealing with the client?
Yeah. I think it's about just remembering like what it is that you're what it is that I'm there for, right? And what my role is. Like in my therapist role, my role is to be a professional person, to be a person that provides them with a safe place. I'm there to help them to work through what their issues are. And so that's in that role, that's how I show up, right? And a more emotional role, I think, maybe like how I maybe show up with my friends or with my family. But I think even in the therapist role, I still feel like there's a place for both. Because one big part of being a therapist and doing therapy is your empathy and your compassion. And sometimes people do need that emotional aspect as well. So I think it's about the client and recognizing, what it is that they need.
Right. Not becoming emotional attached, but showing empathy, showing emotions, that
Yeah.
let them know that you do care. I'm listening. I'm not just here to listen to all your problems, but also, help you, solve them, so to speak, and become better.
Yeah, and just helping them to see that I'm a human.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that part.
Yeah, and that I'm here, to help you, to listen, to hear you out, um, to offer you the empathy and compassion.
Right. And I think that's very important because they see that you can relate to them. You know,
Right.
I'm just this person just sitting here just doing my job. So I think that does make a very good impact on clients if once they see that, you can relate to them. Um
Right.
you know may know some of the things they're dealing with, some of their struggles. Um What are some other ways to help support a person with mental illness other than therapy?
Yeah. I think, therapy is, if I say mental illness or dealing with your mental health is like a toolbox. Therapy is one part of one very important piece of that toolbox. But if that's not something that you have access to or that you're not ready for, I do think there's other aspects of that toolbox that's important. So self care, like, carving out time to do things for yourself, whether that's exercise or that's guided meditation or whether that's reading a book that's helpful to you. um all those different type of things can be important. So I think it's primarily about having a toolbox of things that you have that you can do that helps you in your when you're dealing with difficulties in your life. If it's your faith and your relationship with God that's important to you, then spending time in that area of your life. If you feel like exercise is your place of relief, spending time in that area of your life.
Mm, yeah, that's some good things to go about and do. It all
Mm,
very important, part in your life, and it can help you get through, them dark times.
mhm. Yeah, I think so. And I think it's about making sure that you don't allow yourself to just drown in it, right? And I think sometimes that can be easy to do. Um, it can be easy to just allow yourself to drown. And remembering that there are life rafts, you may have to reach for them, you may have to go to them, but they're there. And knowing what are my life rafts, what are my things that I have, who are the people in my life that I have, what are the things that I have in my life, what do I have that can help me?
That's good. And what are some services or maybe a website if someone, wants to become better and
Mhm.
be on the path to being better mentally? Um, Maybe a number they can call, maybe a website for those that are watching and listening.
Yeah. Um, look, I think the mental health crisis line is a really good one. And that is for crisis, but the thing about it is it's a thing that people can go to when they feel like they don't have anything else in the moment. It's 24/7. It's you can call at any time, and now they've made it so easy with the National Mental Health Crisis Line. It used to be like a long I'm looking it up also. It used to be like a long phone number that people had to call. And now they've shortened it to where even the number is really short. And it's 988. And so all you have to do is dial 988 and you can be talking to somebody who can help you through like a mental health concern or through a mental health crisis. You can talk to a trained counselor and trained crisis professionals.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, because trying to call a long number, they may be like, "Forget this. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
I'm
okay
not
do what I'm
gonna
gonna do."
yeah. Yeah. So
They
I
just down that three digit number. Yeah, they can get them quicker than somebody that can help. Hopefully, what I'm saying, take their mind off whatever they had, on their mind to do. So let me ask you this: if someone was to um let you know, hey, I want to commit suicide. Are you guys at liberty to? Do you? Do you? I mean, because I know it's confidential and stuff like that. So do y'all tell someone, or I mean, if you can't answer that question, that's fine.
No, you're fine. That's a good question. I think one thing when you're a therapist, we do have limits to confidentiality. And one of our limits of confidentiality is if you say that you're planning to hurt yourself or someone else. And then my role is to find the best way of getting you help, right? Whether that is getting you to a hospital or emergency room, getting a welfare check just for a police officer or someone to come and check on you, getting a safety plan together to where we can discuss ways of keeping yourself safe. So there's always going to be resources and tools that we utilize when people say that they're suicidal.
Okay. Well, that's
Yeah,
good. That's good.
yeah,
I was
and
just wondering because I'm like, I know, I know it's certain things, but I'm like, I know it got to be some guidelines where y'all have to, make sure a person, because don't hurt themselves or like you said, hurt others. So yeah, that's
yeah, we will do it. We try to do everything we can to keep people safe. Sometimes it's not successful. Sometimes people don't tell the therapist, or sometimes people make those decisions without seeking out any help. But we try our best when we are made aware, we try our best to keep that person safe.
that's good. That's good to know. That's good to know. See, this good stuff, and hopefully, and thank you all for the have tune in. Um, Today we're talking about mental health awareness. Is very important because these are the times and these are the days. Things are happening. A lot of people are dealing with mental illness, haven't been diagnosed, never seen a therapist, but it's if you see signs, don't let it go on too long. Whether it's in your kids, in your friends, let them, let it be made aware of so they can get the help they need to be able to still live a successful and healthy life.
Yeah,
We want them to live a healthy life, mentally. It's ways and different things that can take and services that can be provided to help them become better. Uh,
yeah, yeah, I agree. And I think just remembering like your mental health is as important as your physical health. As much attention as you put into your body when you're sick and your focus on making sure you get well is the same attention and focus that you have to put onto your mental health and your emotional health.
that's very true, and that's a good way to look at it because they always said, "Mind is a terrible thing to waste,"
Yeah,
and to be honest, it really is.
yeah,
It really is. Because it's just like I said, it just be so heartbreaking when I see, like I saw the one of the rapper, I think he's from Atlanta, his girlfriend had, she had been dealing with mental illness when she was aware of that, but like everybody was like, oh, they look so, they were so happy and she looked so happy,
mm-hmm.
and she said she had came to that place several times, but she just this time she wrote him a long text and told him that she loved him. It wasn't him, and this time she actually just went on and jumped off. Jumped in the river. And
Mm,
she was young. She was like in her 20s. And I was just like, that was so sad just reading about it. I was just like, oh my, just never know what a person dealing with and what they going through. Like I said, he did try to be there for her and love her, but she needed something more. I don't
yeah,
know if she was, I don't know if she was seeing a mental health therapist or not. I don't know about that, but I was just like, oh my God, it's so heartbreaking when you see it, or even, you know, kids being bullied and they're,
that's another huge thing. And then we got to think about social media. So you know, it's so huge now. And now a lot of kids they can't escape it. Like, probably in the past, if you're being bullied, you go home and you can get away from it. Well, with social media, you have people bullying these kids through their phones. They're sending them text messages, they're messaging them on Facebook. And so they're not really having a chance to escape it or to get away from it.
yeah, I know, and it's so sad when
Hmm.
hear about a 9-year-old, 8-year-old taking their life because they were bullied. I'm like,
Hmm.
I'm like, what is it coming to? I
Yeah,
mean,
sad.
because back in my days, they wasn't doing that. Like kids wasn't, committing
Back
suicide.
in the day, you just
But not
they
that I'm
played
aware
in
of,
the street, and then
right.
and it's over with. Once you
I'm
get
gonna
home,
tell right. They'll be like, I'm gonna tell
everybody
my
mama
brother or
gonna
my
whoop you,
sister.
yeah, and they mama, your mama gonna whoop you, and they mama gonna whoop you. And everybody go on, but now it's things are just not like that anymore, and they're dealing with so many different things, and so even just thinking about kids, making sure that you talking to your kids and asking them how school is going. How's your day? How are you feeling? What's going on at school? Is anybody bothering you? Do you have anybody thing that you worried about? Because a lot of times that is even kind of some things that unfortunately we have to think about.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. We do have to ask those questions. Very important questions to ask because, like I said, the days and time, our days, it's totally different, than it was back in
Mhm.
our days. Things are different. Like you said, social media, um, is like I said, people on social media, they post and stuff. They,
Mhm.
and kids, they, on social media when they shouldn't be. I feel like at a certain age, but they create profiles and they be underage, you know what I'm saying? But they say they 18 so they can get them a profile. Because, the kids so smart, they know how to
Right.
do things. So it's just like, us as parents, we have to make sure that we're monitoring stuff like that, their phones, you know,
Mhm.
their,
Everything.
right, their if they have a, social account, their social media account. uh,
Mhm.
You have to, because it's just like I said, it's just the world we live in. Like I said, and just so much, not only just peer pressure, but it's just, I mean, kids deal with a lot of things.
Mhm. They do, and for their safety and their, mental health and their emotional health, we have to keep an eye on it and, make sure we're monitoring, make sure that we're asking the questions.
Yeah, that's very true.
Mm.
So, is there anything that you would like to share with someone that anything you'd like to share as far as that you a lot of things that you maybe see a pattern of, or things that
Yeah,
ways to identify a issue or
yeah. I think, thing that I like to share, generally is to remember that there are resources out there and don't forget that there are life rafts out there. You just have to get to them. And as far as identifying like mental health issues, noticing when people are not themselves. We all get busy. I mean, life is just busy. And making sure we just stop and check in on people that we love and that we care about, even if it's a simple text message just saying, hey, I'm thinking about you. I just want to check in on you. Noticing things that people are doing that may be out of character. We may not always see and we might not always know, but knowing that you can be present and that there is help out there for you, I think is important.
that's very true because like you said, they may not always you may not see it all the time, but
Mhm.
notice some things. Like, oh, I haven't seen such and such in a while. If it's something that y'all normally may do or whatever. And sometimes even when I see certain things people post, like a person's posting certain things, I see this post, back to back posts about certain things, and I know it's I feel like they may be going through something, I reach out, because you never know. I'm like, they posted this stuff for a reason, Sometimes people looking for an outlet.
Mhm.
So yeah, well, you're right. You got to pay attention, and people withdrawing, not want to do the things that they normally used to love to do.
Right.
That's what you got to pay attention to.
Yeah, all those things are things that you have to pay attention to and that you have to, let people know that you're there and that you're present. And just remember like there is help out there. There are resources out there. Um and making sure that you use those and utilize those, I think is important.
That's very true. Then Toya, she says, stay in their business. Some
Mhm.
the open-ended mental health questions to our teens are imperative this day and age.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. Stay in their business. 'Cause their business is yours.
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, especially when you have kids, like, you are then now responsible for them, and for their well-being. And so asking the questions, asking the hard questions, being open to allowing your teens or your kids to go to therapy. not holding them back from that. If you see that your child or your teen is dealing with something that you might not have the resources for, we can't do everything. Being willing to take them is to speak to a therapist.
Right. Or even go as a family.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's needed because sometimes, you know, you may feel like I'm doing everything I need to be doing as a mom, or I'm
Mhm.
doing everything I need to do as a dad because this is how my parents or my grandparents raised me. But sometimes it might not be right.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might need to take parenting classes.
Yeah.
Just give yourself become better. I mean,
Right.
it don't not just with children, but even as parents, we have to think about stuff like that. How can I become better? I got some of these ways that I know I'm not, happy with or pleased with, or like I said, things that was passed on down from generation to generation. Don't mean it was right.
I mean,
Um, so yeah, go as a family.
yeah, like open, be flexible. I think that's a leads to another good point. Like be flexible and open to change. Like you may have to do things differently than how your mama or your grandma did it, but being flexible and open to that, and like T'Challa says, being flexible and open to allowing them to be transparent, knowing like, we had those issues. And a lot of times we want to create an open door so that when they are going through something, they'll talk to us.
Right, that's true, and that's what she said. Allowing them to be transparent with you, remembering we were once teens and had those same issues, and that's true.
Hmm.
Because, we got to realize, okay, some of the stuff they going through, yeah, we did go through it.
Yeah.
Sometimes they may be a little bit more dramatic, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
But still, we have to, let them express themselves.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we're like, be quiet. But you gotta, but I know, I mean, and I'm guilty of that. I'd be like, hey. But yeah, it's just like, but yeah, you do have to allow a child to express themselves. So yeah, like I
Yeah.
said, we as parents, we wanna. It's an everyday, what I'm saying, learning process. And you never stop learning. I mean, I feel like once you stop learning, then you transitioned, on to glory. But
Right.
you have to be willing to learn, and like I said, listen to yourself, listen to your children.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And make sure that you're taking care of yourself and taking care of those, that are connected to you.
right, right, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I like what you said, like, yeah, maybe more dramatic and extra, but being able to listen and respond accordingly, I think is important. Because then what that shows her daughter is that, okay, I know that my mom is gonna be a safe place. And I'm not gonna be dismissed. So that means when she is going through something, that's gonna be who she's gonna come to.
Right, and then that's a good thing, and you will want your child to come to you as a parent, being able to come talk to you and knowing that, hey, I know mom going to listen, she's going to give me a good response, she's not going to just dismiss what I'm saying. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. It's important.
Yeah, and then like I said, for those that haven't got there, then you may want to work on that, and maybe you can go to therapy to develop some skills and change, make some changes.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I'm not going to hold you long. I know you're currently at work, but I do appreciate you taking time out of your day to come talk about mental health awareness.
Thank
And
you.
I will love to have you back on again because
Yeah.
this is a topic that really need to be talked about a lot. And like I said, sometimes you get people look down on therapy, but some people need it, and some people, like I said, may have not been diagnosed, but they may need to, saying get therapy as well. But
Yeah.
I appreciate you for coming on today, tuning in with me today, and I hope you have a great rest of the evening, and have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
And kiss baby girl Monroe for me.
I will. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye.